Hello, my name is Mark Black. In this video, we'll look at how we change the version of LSF Suite. So we'll look at how we move from the Workgroup Edition to the HPC Edition, and perhaps to the Enterprise Edition. So this is part of a series of videos, so if you're interested in a particular topic, you can always look up these other videos to get more information. Alright, so we're talking about how to upgrade LSF Suite. I'm not talking about how to change from 10.2 to perhaps 10.3 or whatever. I'm really talking about changing the edition. So adding in support for additional servers, additional jobs, adding in additional capabilities. So essentially moving from the Workgroup Edition to HPC Edition or to Enterprise Edition. So why do we need to do this? Well, over time clusters do grow, right? They get bigger and bigger. So perhaps you start with a small cluster and now you find that it's providing a lot of value to you and you need to grow that cluster. So you want to have like a better license. Or maybe the users are more demanding and want more features. Or perhaps, for example, you want to have a hybrid environment and you want to expand to the cloud. Or, you want to tear down some of the silos that you perhaps have and want to share the LSF cluster with the larger organization. So in this video, we'll look at how we upgrade from LSF Suite Workgroup Edition to the other editions. So it's actually a two-step process. The first step, of course, is to upgrade the packages, and then since you are upgrading to a higher edition, that enables you to scale higher, so to add additional machines and perhaps change the roles of the machine. So we'll take a few moments to review some of those considerations. So some of the things you need to look at, well, if I am going to a higher edition, do I need to relocate the database? Do I need to consider switching to, perhaps an HA-enabled database? Do I need to front-end my load GUI host with a load balancer? Perhaps the demand is getting high enough so that I need more than one GUI host. And do I need to consider changing the roles of the individual machines? Do I perhaps need to look at moving the LSF master host, the primary and secondary, perhaps to machines that only perform that function? So these are things that you need to keep in mind as you switch editions. So just to recap, for a small cluster, perhaps less than 100 machines, this is like a sample configuration that you could have. You maybe have, say, two hosts dedicated as LSF masters and perhaps running the GUI on one. Of course, you have your shared directory for a failover of the LSF masters, and then you have a number of LSF servers. So that's good for, okay, maybe up to about 100 hosts or so. As you grow to, say, a medium cluster with, say, 100 to 1,000 machines, the configuration is perhaps a little bit different. Here, you're looking at spreading the load over perhaps more machines. So you have your primary LSF master, secondary and tertiary, and then, of course, you still have the GUI hosts on those. But what you would want to do is load balance across these three, but have a lower weight on the first LSF master or the primary LSF master. Another thing you can do there is separate out the database so you're not loading down the individual LSF master hosts. And of course you have your LSF servers. Right, so that's good to, perhaps maybe 1,000 hosts. When you get to the really large scale, so over 1,000 hosts, you're looking at breaking down the roles of the machines even further. So separating out the LSF masters from the GUI hosts, and perhaps using an external database. So these are some considerations that you need to keep in mind as you switch from one edition to another edition. Because in switching to a higher edition, you do have the capability of scaling to larger clusters. Okay, so I'm going to switch to my live environment in a moment, and I'm going to take the deployment node, add in a new edition. So I'm going to start out with the Workgroup edition and add in perhaps the Enterprise edition. Then I'm going to use the deployment node to install that new edition on the rest of my cluster, and we'll perform some basic verification. Okay, let's switch over to my live environment and do that right now. I've logged into the LSF master host, so let's go ahead and look at what version we're running here. There are a number of ways you can do it. I'm running a pre-release version, so some things don't work for me, but they will work for you. For example, you'll be able to run LSID, and that will tell you the version. In my case, as I said, this is a early build of the product, so that feature isn't there. I have a wee bit more work to do to actually show you the version. So I can do that by going to the LSF configuration directory. So that's in opt IBM LSF suite, LSF conv. In here, I'll find an entitlement file. If we look at the contents of that, you can see what we actually are running. So you can see I have IBM Spectrum LSF Suite for workgroups. So that's the lowest edition, and we're going to take that and upgrade to a newer edition. The other thing I want to do here is maybe just take a snapshot of the currently installed LSF RPMs so we can compare it to the upgraded edition so we can see the differences. So let me just do that right now. So I can do that with RPM, and we'll grep for the LSF RPMs, and you'll see there's a number of those. Let me just save that to a file. RPMs. This is for workgroup. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go to my deployment node, so the machine that hosts the package repository and playbooks, and I'm going to upgrade that to a different edition. So let's do that right now. So this is my deployer node, and I'm in the playbook directory. One thing I want to show you here is the how you can see what version you currently have. If you look at this file here, group vars all, and you can see this is the edition that we're currently able to install with this deployer node. So when I'm going to update this, and you'll see this change. The other thing I want to say is you do not want to modify your LSF inventory file at this time. You want to perform the edition upgrade first, then change the composition of your cluster. Okay, so let's go and change this to a different edition. So let me do that. I've downloaded all of the packages here. Let me just take a quick look. So I currently have the workgroup edition installed. What I want to do now is update my deployer node so it has one of the either the HPC or Enterprise edition. In this demo, I'm going to use the HPC edition. So let's do that upgrade right now. I do that simply by running the package. Right? So you'll go to the IBM site, download the package, and simply just run it on your deployer node. It will not update the LSF inventory file or your LSF config YAML file, so it's safe to just rerun it. Okay, so that's we now have the HPC edition. I also want to update my repository for power as well, simply because my cluster has both. So let me run that. Accept the agreement, yes, whoops. And that installs the packages, that's pretty quick. Okay, so now we can go to our playbook. Okay, so this is, it's updated the playbooks. So let's check to make sure what edition we have here. Again, that's we look at the group vars all file. And you can see we have LSF suite for HPC. Now, I haven't touched the inventory file, so we still have the machines that were defined there. What I want to do now is I'm going to run the playbook to update to the HPC edition of LSF suite. So that's just done by running Ansible playbook -i LSF inventory, and we give it the upgrade playbook. Okay, and away it goes. So this is going to take a couple of minutes to run, so I'm going to pause the video here and we'll come back to it once it's finished. Okay, so the playbook is finished and we can see that the edition upgrade is complete. Let's go to the one of the LSF master hosts and see what we have. So you should be able to run LSID to get the version. In my case, as I said, this is a pre-release, so it's not going to work for me. I have to do it the hard way. So we're going to opt IBM, LSF Suite, LSF Conf, and let's look at our entitlement file. And you can see, hey, we've been upgraded to IBM Spectrum LSF Suite for HPC. Okay, cool. Now the other thing I want to do is just to compare the packages, right? So let me do that. QA grep LSF. Okay, so this is my new packages. So this is a new RPM that wasn't in the previous edition. So let me just compare those. Let's just make sure. HPC. Group and oh, yep, two things have changed. So my MPI is changed from Workgroup Edition to the HPC Edition, and I now have this additional component called Data Manager. Okay, so that was our update from Workgroup to HPC. It's very, very similar if you upgrade from Workgroup to the Enterprise Edition or from the HPC Edition to the Enterprise Edition. The whole process is essentially the same. And you can use these steps to verify which edition you've got. Okay, let's summarize what we've seen. So you've seen how to upgrade the deployment node with the Enterprise Edition. It's the same process for the HPC Edition. You've seen how to upgrade LSF Suite to the higher edition that we've just installed, and we've also reviewed some of the considerations for scaling up. In the next video, I'm going to take a look at some troubleshooting tips. If you need more information, here's a link that you can follow. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that.